This video is sponsored by the E600 Pro wireless noise-canceling stereo headphones from Ankbit. Born to earphones.
Just play the damn thing.
Sincerely, thank you all very much for those of you that watched the video on the recent video on guitar pickups and my theory behind why they do not affect guitar tone. And I knew this was going to happen to some extent, but I didn't expect the backlash from so many people that I got. Which in my opinion is absolutely hilarious. So, man, were there a lot of butthurt guitar players out there who had apparently spent a shitload of money on guitar pickups and bought into the pickup company's marketing and thought that those pickups were the be-all end-all, completely transformed their entire sound when they didn't. So with that said, let's get to some comments. I bet none of your guitars sound like Brian May's guitar. Even if you hooked them up to Brian May's rig, this video is pointless. I think he made this video deliberately to create hostility or a volatile reaction in the comments section. Yep, that's me. I've spent 15 years in the MI business and I've sold millions of dollars worth of all kinds of gear to all kinds of people, and I've been a musician for my entire life. On top of the fact that I put in hours and hours of work into producing these videos every single week, all just so I can see who got triggered in the comment section. Yeah, that's my entire purpose for being here. That's my life's goal. Dickhead. Try playing through your cheapest amp, maybe you'll hear the real differences. $1 million tube amps make everything sound great. Come on. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I established very early in that video that the only amp that was being used was my PV6505 combo, which you can buy all day long on the used market for about $350. Now, if that's a high dollar amplifier, to you, then I don't know what to tell you. Get a job. I'm not your dad. This is a real eye-opener, and the main reason I keep coming back to this channel. There's always something new to learn, and having long-held assumptions challenged is a good thing. Learning never ends. Thanks, Robert. And thank you very much for saying so. Look, I admit, once upon a time, I too was a guy that was a real firm believer that a new set of pickups make all the difference in the world. I have many guitars in my collection that I personally swapped out pickups on. Most recently, I put in a brand new set of Seymour Duncan pickups into this guitar. This guitar came with a set of Duncan design pickups. Essentially, the import versions of the Duncan distortions are what were in it. I took them out and replaced them with a JB and a Jazz model. It didn't change the sound of the guitar much. Honestly, the Duncan design pickup sounded just fine. The only reason I changed them were because I just wanted USA Duncans in it. That was the only reason I changed them, mostly just because I didn't want to hear any shit from any dipshit dickweed guitar players out there that wanted to give me shit for playing an import guitar with import pickups, etc., etc. So that's why I made that upgrade. But prior to that, I've been swapping pickups and guitars for years. Again, believe in the marketing hype. And, honestly, it was when I watched Glenn's video that made me think about it. It made me realize, did any of those pickup swaps really make that much of a difference outside of output or clarity? And I had a real hard time answering what tonal differences any of them gave me. Personally, I hear a ton of difference in the nuance of the pickups with your clean examples. The more gain you add to the signal, the more it takes over what you hear. The pickups themselves do matter and have nuances, just the amount of gain that players like Robert and Glenn end up using makes these nuances far less, if at all, noticeable. Using mid-level distortion / overdrive and anything less, and you will hear the differences, especially when we start talking about different types of single core pickups. Just my humble opinion. You know what? I'm listening. If you heard differences in any of the clean examples that were in my video, by all means, please tell me what those differences are. Because more than a few people said, "Oh, I heard lots of differences, lots of nuances between all the clean examples." Not a single one of those people has commented and said, well, Guitar 2, had a little bit more of a mid spike, where Guitar 4 sounded like it had the treble cut. Nobody has described any of the differences that they claim they hear. So either they're hearing differences in output and clarity and thinking it's affecting the EQ and the overall tone of the guitar somehow, or they're simply just not willing to let go of their current belief system. Seriously, if you heard any significant differences between any of those examples, by all means, comment down below. Tell me what they are. Point them out. I'll go back and listen to them. But, when I listen to them, when I record, when I was recording it, when I was listening to them, going back through and editing this video, both times I went through, both times I included these clips and videos. Sonically, tonally, they were all nearly identical to me. But first, a word about the sponsor of today's video. Today's video is sponsored by Ankit. Ankit headphones have been kind enough to send along their E600 Pro model headphones, which I have in my hot little hands right here, and these things are excellent. I own several pairs of wireless headphones. I use headphones in a lot of different aspects of my life, when I'm doing yard work, when I'm exercising, even when I'm grocery shopping. I like to put on a set of headphones and listen to a podcast or whatever it is. I even wear headphones to sleep at night. I use wireless headphones a lot. In the E600 Pros, these things are fantastic. The Ankit E600 Pro wireless headphones feature built-in 2 independent active noise canceling chips and 5 microphones. The noise reduction depth of the E600 Pro wireless headphones can reach up to 35 dB. So if you're using the E600 Pro headphones in a noisy office, on an airplane, or on a subway, the active noise canceling on these headphones will very effectively filter out all of that unwanted background noise. Equipped with the most high-end chip, the Qualcomm QCC3034, the E600 Pro supports aptX HD, aptX AAC, and SBC formats. Combined with custom oversized 40mm dynamic drivers, these features will deliver you an immersive sound experience. Even more, the E600 Pro headphones also come with aptX low latency, so these are perfect with pairing with your smart TV at home for an immersive surround sound experience. The latest CVC 8.0 noise cancellation technology of the E600 Pros filters out background noise so it does not interrupt your phone call if you're on a phone call in a loud environment. And last but not least, you can enjoy up to 80 hours of playtime in standard mode and up to 45 hours in active noise canceling mode. That's a ridiculous amount of time on one charge. Now in the box you get a TRS to USB cable for, I'm assuming if you want to run these things as wired headphones, and of course your standard USB-A to USB-C cable for charging. And that, by the way, is a nice durable woven cable. And of course you get the instruction manual, and last but not least, it even comes with a handy carrying case. I've been testing out these headphones for the last several days, and these things are fantastic. For under $100, they sound as good, if not better, than my $350 Sennheisers. And they also sound as good or better than my old $300 Bose headphones that I don't have anymore because they broke. Really, like 2 months out of the warranty, they broke, and Bose refused to fix them for me. The E600 Pro headphones got some weight to them. They feel really, really sturdy, really well built. They don't feel like lightweight garbage headphones that are going to break on you in a week. They're extremely comfortable to wear. The active noise canceling on it is fantastic. And the best part about it is the battery life of these headphones lasts up to 80 hours. Seriously, I can run these things constantly for over 3 days without having to worry about charging them. 80 hours is a lot of battery life for a pair of Bluetooth headphones. For under $100, the Ankit E600 Pro wireless headphones are absolutely fantastic. You need to go check these out. I will make sure to post a link down in the description for you to check them out. I am certain my favorite pickups, JB and 59, make my guitar sound different than stock poop pickups. Sure they do. I picked up a PRS limited run McCarthy model many years ago. It has the darkest pickups I've ever played. I don't play it. I don't think that's the pickups. I think that's the guitar. Paul. One thing I've noticed about Paul Reed Smith guitars, they are notoriously, they're generally pretty dark sounding guitars. They don't have a lot of trebly spiky. Most of them anyway don't have a lot of trebly spiky twang. Characteristics to them that certainly not like Fenders and even Gibsons seem to be brighter in the overall tonal spectrum than most PRS guitars. And that's just about every PRS that I've ever played, and I've played a lot of PRS guitars. Great instruments. I'm not saying anything negative about PRS, and I don't think there's a guitar designer in the world that goes about designing their guitars like Paul Reed Smith does. That I've met him and and actually spent a lot of time with him one day. I've told that story on my channel here before in the past, and the dude just does not have the same. He doesn't think about guitars like you and I think about guitars, as most geniuses don't. If you ever decide to change out the pickups of that guitar and you get a different result, by all means, tell me. But I'm pretty convinced that that's going to be the guitar itself, a lot more than it is the pickups, based on my experience with PRS. It's hard to hear the differences when the guitar tone is so terribly flat and dead. Well, once again, the video was not about guitar, was not about whether or not you like the tone of it or anything like that. As a matter of fact, the majority of it, particularly the parts where the guitar is plugged straight into the interface, that was designed to intentionally provide a level playing field. Basically, something to provide as much of a completely flat and unaltered guitar signal as possible. In other words, plugging into a Fender amplifier or something like that is whose clean sound is completely different. I think most people would agree that it would be much more difficult to identify a spike in a spike in treble or a spike in mid range or a drop in lower mids or something like that if I had used a clean signal that already had some of those characteristics. Some of those EQ characteristics built in from the get-go. However, going straight into a mic pre on my interface does not do that. So yes, that was the point of the guitar tone being flat and dead as you described it. It was intentional. We needed it to be as lifeless sounding as possible in order for this experiment to be fair. And by the way, this clown went on to argue with me after I countered every single one of his arguments. So here we have another troll not able to handle his own cognitive dissonance. Here, check out the rest of this thread. You'll get a kick out of this. They all sounded way different. Yeah, no they didn't. If they sounded way different, again, I am inviting all of you who thought that they all sounded way different, please describe to me, outside of the context of output and clarity, what was different between any of them. Any major differences. Any major differences that you honestly heard, tell me exactly what those differences were and between which examples. I will be more than happy to go back and listen to them and see if I can identify what it is that you claim that you're hearing. But like I said, not a single one of you has bothered to do any of that yet. Not one comment on the feel of the different pickups. I heard lots of subtle differences between the guitars using the 6505. Not sure why you went clean. They all lack dynamics. This makes no sense whatsoever because the high gain examples played through the 6505. I mean, high gain is massive compression. That is a massively compressed guitar signal. So if whatever dynamics that you're claiming that you heard in that signal, but you didn't hear in any of the clean examples, let's be honest, you're just making shit up to defend the fact that you probably paid big money for a set of pickups somewhere. Look at Greenie. Hammond still sounds the same Metallica sound, and that has vintage PAFs. I agree, pickups really have no bearing. Yes, excellent example. Whether Kirk Hammett is playing Greenie, if you're not familiar with Greenie, that is his original 1959 Les Paul Burst that he bought 3 or 4 years ago. It was the one that Kirk Hammett bought, and he paid $2 million for it. Was the one that was once owned by Peter Green from Fleetwood Mac, and I believe later on was owned by Gary Moore. That's the one that Kirk Hammett bought, and I even saw him play it live when I saw Metallica in 2019, as you can see in these photos. But back to the point at hand, whether or not Kirk is playing Greenie that has original PAF pickups in it, or he's playing one of his ESPs with with a set of active 81s, active EMG 81s in it. Can you honestly tell me which songs on their latest album, 72 Seasons? Tell me which of those songs he used Greenie on, just by listening to it. Tell me which of those songs he used one of his ESPs with EMGs in it, just by listening to it. I'll wait. All I remember Brian May at EVH swapping rigs during the Starfleet sessions and being disappointed they sounded like themselves. And whether he plays an SG, a Les Paul, or PRS Carlos Santana, always sounds the same. It's in the hands. I agree with you 100%. Technique is absolutely in the hands.
Technique is absolutely in the hands.
Yes, technique is in the hands. All I can say is for whoever wants to learn about audio, don't ever listen to people on YouTube, especially not a guy who can't even produce a single usable guitar tone and doesn't notice his guitar is out of fucking tune. No offense, but Jesus, if you can't hear that, of course you won't hear pickup differences either. Just saying. Oh, man. Fucking people. These fucking guitar players kill me. Now the comments are going to be a bunch of Karens telling you that wasn't fair, that you used guitars that you didn't show. Also, I wonder where the tone wood guys went. They should have at least been able to guess which wood was being for each number. Absolutely right. All of a sudden, the tone wood crowd totally disappeared too. Nobody could guess which. Nobody knew which. Which guitars are made of which type of wood, and or any of that shit. But you were right. By the time your comment came in, there is no going to be about it. The comment section was already loaded up with Karens. I'm just picking some of the greatest hits to show in this video here today. But there was already plenty of people crying about what they saw in that video for reasons that you just outlined. I mean, plenty of them. So if I take out the 61 Gibson burst buckers from my Les Paul and put in some Ibanez branded Indonesian ones, it'll sound pretty much the same? Correct. I hear huge differences. Sure you do. So that was it. That was the last comment. Leave me your comments down below on this video or the last video or any of my videos. And if you want it to be featured here in one of these here viewer comments videos, keep your fingers crossed. Adios.